Hello, my friend. Welcome to this lesson. In this one, we're going to give you a quick example of how I helped my friend to create a brand from basically just a paragraph of text, how we were able to create something nice based on the keywords and the sentences that he gave me, and just how easy it can be. I'm going to walk you through the process using all of the steps, all of the tactics and tools that we've talked about in this course so that you can have another example and see just how easy this can be and see what my process is as I do it. So my friend Alfred, I'm helping him to organize a wellness retreat in Greece in the autumn of 2024. And he's a health practitioner in the UK, doesn't really know much about marketing, so I decided to give him a hand because I've been doing these retreats myself for a couple of years now. And so he sent me some information. I asked him for information about, what are the steps, what's going to take place, what do you need, who's the target market. Target market, he told me this one was quite good. Raw vegans, people interested in weight loss or fasting, CODS SE, I don't really know what that is. But just basically using some of these keywords and a couple of sentences, and we're able to create the visual identity quite quickly. So again, I'm going to namelikes.com, and you can see just some of the keywords that I'm putting in here. And I've actually already generated a whole bunch of ideas from just these keywords. So using the keywords and then just like a short business description, I was able to take these screenshots of all of the different ideas that were that Namelikes came up with. So the one that we ended up liking was there were a couple. There was one that was like the Health Haven, I think. And then there was another one that was Nourish and Flourish. So there was this one I really liked, the Health Haven. And then there was another one called Nourish and Flourish. And when I'm starting this process, and this is true of the whole design, when you're creating design and you're looking for something as inspiration, you want to take a look and browse through, reduce and retreat, kind of nice. You want to see what really catches your eye, what really grabs you. Right? Because I was helping my friend to decorate his place, and he had a new room. I was helping him paint things. We were printing AI artwork to put on the walls. And when I was thinking about where do we hang these paintings, I was thinking like, where is the first place that my eye goes? Right? So we should definitely put a painting where the first place where my eye goes. Where's the second place where my eye goes? Okay, that's where this artwork is going to get noticed. And I think it's really the same when it comes to images, when it comes to logos, colors, if you're looking for fonts, or just business names. You need to see, like when you're browsing through these names, you need to find something that really speaks to you, right? So this font, for example, Nurture Yourself, this really has a really kind of powerful impact compared to this one, which is very tiny. Same with this one, doesn't really give me the feeling that I like. This one kind of does. It's got a lot of attitude, new talks. This one and this one are both very similar. And so this is the process that I want you to follow, and this is the process that I try to follow, is that when you're browsing through like names or brands or images that you want to use, look through and see what really grabs you, what really pulls you, what gets your attention. Because remember, marketing and advertising, it's all a competition for attention. And so whenever you can, use your visuals and your brand, your colors, your logos, your fonts to get more attention, that's going to hook more prospects for you. And so when I was looking through this list, like I saw some fonts that I like, for example, like this one, Manifest Revival. I like that font for the name Nourish and Flourish. So you don't have to take all of these logos exactly as they are. You just find the name that you like, you look for a font that you like, and you look for a color you like. So it could be a mix and a match. And so I essentially took like some screenshots of some ones that I liked for the fonts, for example. And I think there were 4 screenshots that I took of fonts that I liked. So this one, New Talks, Nurture Yourself, Ayurvana, and Manifest Revival. So I don't like any of those names. I just like these fonts. And I want to use these fonts for the name Nourish and Flourish. So I want to test like what this font looks like with that, what this one will look like, and then these two, of course. And another thing that you'll notice that kind of looks kind of cool here is that this one has kind of a gradient effect. If you zoom in there, you can see that it's kind of got like a coloring over it. And I'll show you how to do that in this lesson so that we can recreate this. You can either create a gradient of a font, or you can use a brush tool and kind of just brush over part of the font. And so we'll talk about how to do that in a little bit. But if I go back and I just look at, let me close up a couple of these tabs I don't need. So just for a quick example, I'm just going to use the default settings. I'll do auto, I'll use medium, and basically just put in a one-sentence description. The retreat is for yoga, fasting, juicing, naturopath, meditation, and so on. Doesn't really help, so let's just say wellness. And then we're going to get dozens more ideas, and we can quickly look through these as well. So we can see Holistic Haven. That's a very nice one. Maybe I'll just kind of save that name as well. So I'll just take a screenshot of that. Luminous Lifestyle. So these are all a lot of really good names, and sometimes you just find names that you just fall in love with. It's just so easy when AI is doing all of this for you. The Juicing Journey, or Juice Journey. So a lot of these names, like if you had a business with, you know, a full suite of products, you can use all of these names to come up with different types of products, right? The Juicing Journey, or different kinds of events. If you're hosting multiple events, for example, Generative Getaway, Healthy Veda, Retreat Revive. So I kind of like, you know, if I use one of these names that I really like, let's just say like there's a few names like Holistic Haven, Health Haven. Let's just save some of these. Sorry, I'm not typing very well today. Holistic Haven, Nourish and Flourish, and Health Haven. I think Nourish and Flourish is my favorite of those three. But what you really want to do is just like look at what really stands out, what you really like. It's like love at first sight. Anytime that you have something visually that is love at first sight, then you have a winner. Because anytime that you have like a award-winning photograph or something, it's something that immediately captures your attention right away. It makes you feel something right away. And it's the same with any kind of visual. That's what you want. Mountain, mindful. Okay, so I think we're good with what we have. And what I also want to do is I want to find some fonts, and then we're going to figure out which fonts are being used so that we can use them as well. This one's kind of good, Luna Hill, but with the name that we have in mind, for example, Nourish and Flourish, with that context, we want to find the favorite fonts, and then we'll just do a few tests. So I think this one's kind of cool, the Soul Vibe. So maybe we could do like, you know, Nourish, and then the little and then Flourish, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to Google what the font, and then we're going to upload some of the screen captures of some of our favorite fonts. This one's kind of cool too. But again, you don't really need to have like 6 or 7. I mean, usually 2 or 3 different fonts is good enough. So as you look at these, just kind of imagine what it's going to look like when you use the name that you've chosen. And then we're just going to Google what the font. And then I'll open that, and then we'll upload a few of our screenshots, starting with the favorite one. Okay, so of these ones that I've taken, I do like how visible this is, how readable it is. I think that what I'm kind of imagining is the Nourish and Flourish with a little bit of an icon, like maybe a half split open orange next to it, or some type of fruit, maybe even like olives. But I really like the idea of like an orange. And then second, probably like maybe this one, Nourish and Flourish, or maybe this one. But I don't want this to be too complicated, because simplicity is often best. What we can even do is we can also work in like a gradient effect like this, kind of like with these kind of colors. I like these colors here with the blue. So let's try to do this one, this new talks first, and we'll just click this and drag this in here. And then all I have to do is identify the font, and then download that font to my laptop and open it in Photoshop. So while that's working, I'm going to open up Photoshop. And I'm still waiting on this to open, but Photoshop is opening. Let me see what happened. Okay, so I don't know what's happening here. It's not showing the fonts for some reason, but this is the first time that this has happened. And this only ever happens when I'm recording a live lesson, by the way. So I did see that there were actually some fonts over on the left-hand side, but I don't know why it's not showing here. It could be that I'm in a new country right now. I'm actually in Egypt, and sometimes when I'm in different countries, certain websites get blocked, certain features. I don't know why. I do think that there might be some of the fonts here, or it says 64 fonts, but it's just not showing them. So I can try my VPN to see if that works. Let me try opening the VPN and see if that unlocks that so I can continue. Because sometimes, like when I'm in Nepal, for example, I can't even access my Facebook Ads Manager, which is very strange. So let's go ahead and turn this on. And I'm going to see if it helps having the VPN on. Let's try uploading it again. Okay, there we go. So that's very strange. Having the VPN on allows those results to load. For some reason, I'm new here in Egypt, and I don't know which websites are blocked or for what reasons. But now we have some very similar fonts that we can choose from, and we can kind of choose whichever one is our favorite. And what you'll notice is that some of these, they're much more like spread out, while this one's much more condensed, for example. So for a logo like this, I think I clearly want it to be kind of more condensed because it just kind of looks neater. And maybe not too bold, like that it's got so much attitude, but it just kind of looks clean and neat. And again, this is just like where we're browsing through and we're just kind of looking at the one which is our favorite. So I think this one is pretty good, this Jeffeth stamp. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. And then you can buy this from this website, or you can find similar fonts if you just do a search for that. So I'll just do that. And when I search that, it's the first result is thefont.com, and that's a website with a whole bunch of free fonts that we can download. So let's go ahead and download that. And then all we have to do is open that, and it will install that font. Okay, so let's close this, and then I'll close that, and let's open up Photoshop. And I opened up this one because I like the font that's being used here, but let me go ahead and expand this canvas a bit. So I'm going to increase the canvas size, let's just say 300% across the board, or I can just click this one. Okay, so now what you see here is we have the original layer, and then we have a clear area around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a new layer, and I'm going to make it white color, and just click this and drag this to white. And whatever color fill you put here, whatever color you have as the background color, you probably want that to be the color that you're going to use it as. So if it's like your website's going to be green, then put that same green here. And let's make this a little bit bigger so we have something more to work with. All right, now let's just type up our words using the font that we selected. Nourish and flourish. And now we have to consider also the layout as well. So we can't actually do that little and with this font, which is very interesting, but we might be able to use another one like Futura. There it is. Let me see if that will work. Nope, okay. So we need to find a font that has this and it works. Nourish and flourish. Okay, so it's not perfect yet. It's getting there, but we need to think about the layout as well and what looks nice. Maybe we can drag this one in here as well. And let's see how these look like this. I'll drag this on top. And so these almost align enough that I could actually make them line up, and I can add like that and thing here. Let's use Roboto. Okay. My keyboard, I bought my my laptop in Turkey, so it's a Turkish keyboard. So sometimes the keys do not correspond where they should. Now what you'll notice is that with this, it doesn't quite line up, but what we could do is we can make this a little bit bigger. We can also space it out a little bit. So for this, I just open up this window that says character, and I can just hide this because I don't really need this. And what you'll notice is that there's a -10 spacing between the letters themselves, so I can do that like +10 to bring it out a little more. I can also gently increase the font size to bring this out a little more as well. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll make this a center aligned so that it lines up nicely. And we also notice that there's a very little space between this and there's a lot of space between this. So what we can do is we can adjust this one where we see this little icon. And now it says auto, so we can test out maybe like 30 or 36. So it's coming along. I mean, I'm not in love with it yet. It's just one idea, but we're getting closer. And what I'd almost like is like if there was a way to turn this and into like a piece of fruit or something, like nourish, flourish. If there was like a piece of fruit, like a cherries or something, like we could turn this and I don't really know what the name of this character is. If you know what it is, please tell me. But I also think that if we're going to have one word like this, it should be like bold, I want to say. So it should kind of stand out a little more. But if it doesn't, that's totally okay too. And what we can also try to do is we can also change the colors to see how this looks against another kind of background, like if it's a colored background. But what I also want to do, and again, I'm doing this very, very quickly. If I was, creating a font that I really love, I would take more time. But I'm doing this very quickly to show you guys. Is add a little iconograph. So maybe like next to nourish and flourish, like we have, or maybe even up here we have like a little piece of an orange or something. So I would go to free pick and then maybe look at vectors that we can use here and kind of give it that extra zing that we're looking for. And I don't think that on Namelix itself, we didn't really get any visuals. It's all just fonts. Yeah, it's all just text. So what I'll do is I go to freepick.com and maybe we'll just look for some images of like fruit, for example. And I will filter by vectors. We can also do juice. Anything that's going to get attention and also is delicious. So these are kind of nice, but it's a little bit too simple. The strawberries are quite interesting. This is also very interesting. So even if this doesn't work for our logo, we can use it for something else, perhaps. So there's also a whole bunch of stuff that is AI generated. We could also generate our own AI images as well. Now I kind of like this one with the split open orange. That's kind of what I had in mind, but maybe a little bit more decorative. So let's try and see, let's click vectors, and we can also search for juices as well. Yeah, so this would be really cool, like just as a background image for maybe a flyer, or you could put some white text over this with a slight drop shadow. Probably is not going to work for our logo, but I do like the direction. It kind of gives you a good feeling. And then you just kind of want to, for our logo, we just kind of want to look through and see what kind of speaks to us, what kind of ideas we can come up with. That's probably too much. I kind of like this, so let's just see. I'm just going to copy this here and then just see how it looks. It is way too much for a logo, I mean, with all of this going on, but what we can do is we can take like the leaves and put them on the left, or put like the orange on one side and the leaves on another. So what I'm going to do, let's just temporarily move this layer above the other layers, so we hide everything else. There we go. And what I can do is I can remove this background, or I can just select all of this area here to remove it. I can also use the remove background option if I open up that little toolbar again. And let's make sure that we're not deleting our orange, because we want that. And it might even just be easier to use the remove background. So I need to find the contextual tool, and let me see. Oh yes, that's done here under Window contextual taskbar. And let's just see how the AI does. A little bit easier. And then we move some of the leaves and the oranges to kind of spice up what we have here so far. I'm not going to use this straight up black, obviously. So we're going to change that color as well. But we see that the remove background did a pretty good job. We kind of removed all of the little gray checkers. It did kind of remove a little bit of the orange as well, so we need to make sure that we restore that. I'm going to click on the layer mask here, and using white, we can paint back what was taken out. So just very gently restore some of that orange, and then using black, we can remove stuff as well. And make sure we paint back here as well, because I see there's a little bit cut off there. But otherwise, it should be pretty much good to go. So let's bring this here. And I don't know, I'm not quite in love with the how the letters look at the moment. So I might make this a little bit bigger and space this out a bit more as well. And then I might just also space this out a bit more too. So it looks a little bit cleaner, and then I think it should be a little bit closer together too, so not that much. Seems okay for now. And using the lasso tool, we can select specific parts. So maybe we'll have the orange on one, and then have like these leaves on the other side. But basically, I'm just going to select parts of this layer that I want to use separately, independently. And then we can go to Edit, Cut, or I can press Control X, and then just remove that, and then paste it, and it'll show up as a new layer. And you'll notice that the background unfortunately came back, but we can use the remove background again to remove that. So let's do that. And it actually removed too much. So we can see that it removed the leaf as well. So let's try and restore that. And let's click the layer mask. And I don't know where that leaf is actually, so let me see. Okay, brought it back a little bit. And then we'll just remove some of this. Yeah, it's pretty much good. So that looks nice. Coming along. And it might be too much, but I'm sure it's fine. I mean, we just need to, the goal of design is not to win awards, it's not to be perfect, it's just to demonstrate the things that we want, to communicate the things that we want, to demonstrate that something is quality, demonstrating that it's legitimate, that people can trust it when they see it. This is what we want to communicate with designs such as this one. And I did something wrong here because I had the wrong layer selected. So let me go and make sure I have the right layer selected. And let's hide that one. And that's really interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit much. Let's see how this looks up here. Yeah, it's not quite what I had envisioned. Maybe we can just go with like the little pieces. So you know, what we can also do is just kind of select these individually instead of using the lasso, and this one as well. And instead of cutting these, I'm going to just copy them and then paste them again. Making sure I have the right layer selected. Yeah, so that's coming along. And again, this is a very, 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 very quick example. If I was trying to make this perfect, I would put my 100% of my attention on it. And you know, I'm just kind of doing this kind of quick. It's like a rough draft. But you can just see the steps that I'm taking here, that I'm walking you through. And one thing I need to do is I need to lock this background layer, so I'm not selecting that. And then I can select all of these. And so, yeah, I mean, it's kind of coming along. You know, we can use this for like a flyer or something against a white background. Obviously, we can also do like a orange background and mimic this white. So I can go and you know, make this a dark orange. Let's go ahead and select like the darkest orange that we can and make it even darker. So we can make it more saturated. We can also make it no, not quite what I'm going for here. Let's see, let's go to H and maybe a little more reddish. Now the thing here is that it kind of messes up the oranges themselves, so they don't really stand out as much. And it definitely looks way too brown, doesn't it? So let's go back. I do like the white, it's very clean. And now we just kind of have to come up with a color treatment. So if we go back to like free pick, for example, we can get some ideas for colors that we like. We can also go to name licks as well. And if I was, you know, really taking this seriously, I would probably look more at the images and just kind of spend more time trying to find what fits the design best. So, for example, you know, one of these juices might work very well, or one of these vector images. I do kind of like a combination of like having the fruit over here and then maybe a juice over here. So let's see if we can add like one of these. So I'll just go ahead and I'll just download this, and I think it will be, yeah, so EPS means Adobe Illustrator, but we can just open the Photoshop file in Photoshop, the JPEG file in Photoshop. So I'll go ahead and download that and then open that in Photoshop. So I just drag the image in, and what we'll do is we'll just select this. I'll press M on my keyboard and then do this little rectangular selection, cut this out of the layer, and you'll notice that I actually can't cut it out because this layer at the moment is a vector layer, so we can't edit it until we rasterize it. So I have to click rasterize here, and now I can cut that out, and then I'll just hide this one. And let's just see how that looks. Let's also hide this layer too. Okay, so it kind of gives that feeling of like being delicious and nutritious. Normally it's kind of like many liberties, I think, by putting so much into a logo. I mean, normally a logo would be very, very simple. You wouldn't have too many different things going, or too many different images. But you know, if you have a little bit of creative license, if this is going on like the top of a web page or a document or something, or a flyer, then it's totally fine. You have creative license. But if you want something that you're going to be using to represent your company, then you probably want something simpler than this. And let me just check this. I need to restore some of the, what the heck? I need to restore some of this. I lost a little bit of the shadow as well. And you'll notice that it doesn't automatically select that layer mask, so I have to manually select that each time. And what else? Maybe just that little drop shadow. Okay, so that kind of gives off the vibe that I'm looking for, but you'll notice that there's one other problem. Well, there's two problems basically. The black doesn't quite work. I don't want to use that black font. And two, these don't really line up, right? Because this one is taller than the text. So that's kind of an oversight there that we would want to fix. So what we can do is we can possibly make this font bigger. Let me see if I'm just gonna go to transform. So I'll press Control T on my keyboard. And what we can try to do is just make this font a little bit bigger. And yeah, I mean, it's coming along. We definitely want to have a different kind of color. I always like having a color background and then just having a white text. It's like kind of really easy for me, and I love how it looks every time. But in this case, we're going to use a white background. Yeah, so it's kind of coming along. It's not quite there yet. And again, this is just something that I'm doing really fast to show you guys. I'm not putting like 100% of my normal attention as I would on this. And also just making sure that these line up perfectly. So we can see that it's not quite perfect, but we're getting close. And something else, we can do like some other plays on this. Like we can, make one of the, make these O's like a piece of fruit, for example. So we can make like a grapefruit here, or like put a banana in there or something, or we can make this like an orange. So if we go back and we bring back some of these layers, maybe we can take like this orange, the whole orange, or maybe half orange. Normally I would just go back to free pick and then find another orange. And I don't think this is going to quite fit like I want it to. So I'm just having fun here, as you can see. And to make this work, we'd have to like space out the letters a little bit more. But what we could do is, we could find like a grapefruit or something that's kind of cool looking to just kind of give it some extra pop to just show that this is that we put some actual effort into this design. And we'd want to find something that, of course, matches the overall theme that we're going for. So if we have a coconut, for example, that might not blend in as well as an orange does with this. Maybe with the red, we can have like some cherries or like grapefruit like this. This one's kind of nice. But we need kind of a round orange. So I'll just be more specific and just do a search for orange. And this was kind of more like what I was imagining before. It was something like this. Well, kind of the imagery that I had in my head when I was starting this logo. Now we can see this is kind of cool with like the juice splashing behind. And we can see some different interpretations, right? So we can use like these little half slices and quarter slices. We can also use these different kinds of open fruits here, like the grapefruits and so forth. We can also use like these ones. And I actually like this vector, this image here, more than what we have already. I like this as well. This is very clean. So normally I would take more time to look through all of these and just kind of find what suits what I'm trying to do best and what really stands out the most. But because I'm doing this very quick in this example, let's just continue with what we have. I also like those bananas as well. And then we might just think about some creative ways that we can kind of include this in our design. So let me copy this. I can also download it, but copying works too. And it's still very big, so let's reduce the size by a lot. And another thing we can do is we can also make this more reddish if we want to use it on the bottom. font. And I'm just going to delete that because I don't need that. And let's just remove all the white. And then I'm using the eraser tool to just kind of clean it up a little bit. And again, if it's against a white background, it doesn't really matter that much if there's a little bit of white there. So what we can do is we can also kind of space this out a little more. So let's go ahead and move this a little bit over. And we can just do another space here. And you'll notice that what that does is it pushes it to the left as well. So we want this to be just moving it one direction. And maybe I can just also nourish and flourish. And we want that to match what we have. So what we can do is, we have a few different options here. We can go to hue saturation and just kind of make this reddish by sliding this hue around. So we move this way, it'll become redder. And that's probably the fastest and easiest way to go about this. And then we can preview the changes. We don't really want to lose too much detail. So if it gets too much, we lose kind of the detail. Let's kind of just make it like that and see. Nourish and flourish. And maybe instead of this, we can come up with something else. So if I hold Shift, I can just drag it horizontally. And kind of just want to make the spacing a little bit more natural. So let's just make this like 20 or 25. Another thing we can do is just take this out and then make it a new layer. And then we can just place that wherever we want. Oops. So let's make a new layer. And make it the same font size. So it's not perfect yet, but it's coming along, and you can see all the different steps that we took with this. And obviously, sorry guys, there's a fly in here that's bothering me. What we can also do is, if we wanted to create like a consistent brand from this, we can decide on what kind of brand colors we want to use. So what we can do is we can use the eyedropper tool to take these colors that we use, and what I usually like to do is just kind of make some shapes of these. So it could be a circle, it could be a rectangle, and just put these fonts somewhere so that they're easy, and we can easily use these again and again. So we might have this one, the orange, and then there might also be like a green or something. Don't want that. And there you go. So just kind of some ideas for some colors that you use in the branding. maybe also a yellow. And what we can also do is we can find some of the imagery that we like from a website like Free Pick, and also add that in here and come up with more inspiration there. Like that picture of all the fruits that I found. And so that just kind of becomes your brand guidelines. And then you have the font, of course, it was like Jeth Smith or something like that. So if you're using websites for fonts for your website, you'll want something similar to that as well. And obviously this nourish is not quite done yet, so we want to make sure this aligns nicely. It's a little bit better. And maybe we can figure out like another thing that we can do, like a piece of fruit here, or whatever it is, like fasting, for example, might have like an hourglass here. I don't really know. Something that kind of gives that feeling of nourishment. Maybe like a little banana or something like maybe like a little pineapple here. Let's see how that looks. Or maybe just a quarter piece of fruit. But again, I'm just doing this really fast for this tutorial. So it has to be kind of small, and it should kind of fit quite, it should look like it belongs in this overall design. So we can see we have a lot of different options here, but now it's not filtered, so maybe let's just do vectors and see. So this might be a little bit too artistic or too illustrative, I want to say. Not realistic enough. And we'd have to kind of adjust the colors a little bit, but let's just see. I'll go ahead and remove the background. And while that's working, let's get some of our other pineapples. These kind of have a little flair to them, those ones. This gives them different options. These ones seem to be kind of versatile as well. We also have strawberries too, so we have different kinds of fruits that we can play around with here. So I like this because it gives us a lot of different options that we can add. But let's just try a few different things. And what you'll notice is that, I mean, there's so many different options, and you might like one of these other options more than something you already have, like using this pineapple instead of the juice, for example, or using the pineapple instead of the oranges. So that kind of has like a nice pop to it. You know, it's much more kind of artistic, and what we can do is maybe just use the orange here. It just kind of looks like it kind of fits in there. So you can see like we're getting more and more kind of creative and more illustrative now. We'll have to think about whether we want this to actually align with everything else. But now it's kind of something that gets you more excited about the retreat itself and the idea of, you know, this feeling of health and delicious fruit and juices. And we've done all this in just half an hour, you know, and that's really just how quickly, you know, how quick this can be. You cross it off your to-do list and then you move on to the next thing. And that's exactly how, in my opinion, it should be. When I was in the Art Institute and I was studying advertising, we took weeks to design these logos. Now we can do it in 30 minutes. Because we had to come up with all the concepts and everything. It was a very time-consuming process. All right, so we need to get this lined up here. Try 25. Okay, so it's coming along. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can continue to play around with stuff like this to see what really looks best. Again, this is probably a little more of a artistic than I would normally use, but for like a rough draft or something quick, it's fine. You know, with logos, you don't usually get too creative with it. You just want it to look nice. You want it to look like a finished product. And so, you know, there's like a lot of little things. Like if I want to be nitpicky, I would remove this blue straw as well, and just have the one red straw. And so if we wanted to remove the blue here, I can't just use this tool because it will just erase everything. So what I could do is I can go back here and I can use the clone stamp tool, or I can use the brush tool, select the part that I want to sample, and then make it really small, and then kind of just paint over that. And so yeah, you get the idea. Oops. Try this. All right, so that's kind of just a very quick example and walking you through the different steps here. How we identified, I came up with the logo concept, came up with the name, Nourish and Flourish. I personally, like, my professional opinion, this might not be a finished product. I might try some different examples because there might be other things that work better. I do feel like this pineapple has too much going on, like especially with the lines here. If we were to go ahead and use this, like you see, it's much more simple in terms of the visuals. There's less going on. It's not as dark. It's less busy. So yeah, it's not a finished product, but I just wanted to show you kind of like how easy this can be, and this can be so much better than just like typing Times New Roman and black font against white. Remember, the goal is just to reinforce the feeling that you want people to take from when they see your branding, they see your visuals, and if it's you're focusing on health, like Nourish and Flourish, you want to reinforce that feeling of vibrance, of delicious fruit, delicious juices, health, energy, wellness, all of this stuff. That's what your branding, your images should convey. And when you're looking for inspiration, you can use Shutterstock and FreePick, these image websites. You can also use like Namelix, for example. Find examples that really grab you. Like if you're looking through a list of stuff like this, where do your eyes go? Where are your eyes pulled to? And that's probably the kind of like font that you should use. Like this one really stands out, for example. This also stands out, the white against that dark color. Same with this one, Positive Healing. And it's the same when it comes to images. If you're looking through a whole bunch of images to use, see what really stands out, which one you fall in love with right away. If you fall in love at first sight, chances are you have a winner. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. And again, if I were to, I might just like simplify this further. I think what happened to my pineapples? Okay. So for example, I might just try and removing one of these glasses, for example, and see how it looks. Yeah, so that kind of simplifies it as well. And if we can simplify it, that's usually a good thing. I might just like try some different images, like try this take on the pineapple, for example, until I get that right. So there might be a little bit of tweaks and stuff, but you get the idea of kind of how it works. So thank you so much for watching this lesson. It turned out to be a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope that these examples are helpful for you and you're able to follow up on this lesson and follow the steps and do it yourself. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have fun with this. Take care.